This is one of the things I remember most about Jackson and the whole group of God Seven is how kind they are to people. And one of those people would be RM. Many of the members of God Seven are actually very close to BTS, as you know, Yogyum is very close to Jungkook. And through the years, they have maintained their friendship. But it's good that even though BTS is so big now, none of the GOT7 members have monetized quote unquote or used their friendship to their advantage. In fact, they have remained very, very quiet about it, sort of protecting it and treating it to be something sacred because it is. Relationships and friendships are sacred. I also thought that in the beginning, if there was any group that was going to give BTS a run for their money, it was going to be GOT7 because every member is just so talented. And of course, they're very, very hardworking. So I was kind of surprised that they are one of the most successful ever, by the way, one of the best selling boy bands out there. It's just that I thought they were going to become bigger globally. So, in this interview, Jackson is currently on a promotional tour for Magic Man 2, which you definitely have to listen to. And in this interview in Zach Sang show, he actually mentioned and sort of explained that. And he also talked about other things like K-pop, JYP, the fans, and of course just adulting, just growing up. And I think it's one of the best interviews I've ever listened to. And we're gonna go through 10 major points. Okay, let's go.
When you think back, like yes, time passes, but when you think back to your late 20s, what comes to mind?
No, man, I was just like speeding on a highway, having no navigation. I was just doing things after things, just going hustling, you know? And I think after 30s, you start to see, oh, this is what I want and this is who I am. And things start to slow down a little bit and you get more neutral about everything.
More neutral. What does that
Yeah.
mean?
This is actually one of the best things that he ever said in the interview. And was towards the beginning of the interview. He was talking about how as you get older, you kind of become more settled. You're not as hot headed, you're not as emotional, you're able to detach yourself from a lot of issues. And primarily, it's because usually, if you really do allow yourself to live your life, you would have experienced things from both sides. You would have gotten your hearts broken, but you would have also broken hearts of other people. You would have been lied to, but at some point, you also would have lied. You would have been left behind by someone, but also at some point you would have left someone behind. And that kind of grounds you because then you realize, because if you're capable of doing it, you're realizing that maybe it's not always black and white. It's not just about being bad or someone intending to do something bad. Sometimes things just happen that way. So you become a bit more understanding. You become more neutral is a word that he used, but it's actually, in my interpretation, he's actually talking about being a bit more laid back. You're calmer. You're more understanding of people's imperfections. You're more forgiving, supposedly, of the things that other people do, even though it hurts you, because at some point in the past, you have done that too. And that actually is a very mature take in life. All right, next.
When you think back,
Take a break because I couldn't answer the question. Am I the Jackson that people know of, or am I who I think I am? And I couldn't even answer who I am.
So this part he was talking about because he was discovered by JYP at 19. And when he was approached by JYP himself, he wasn't actually interested in being an idol. It's just that it was an opportunity. And he said, I'm shameless. So I was like, sure, I dance in the bathroom. Let's go. So he went to the audition. After that, he told him that they were going to get in touch with him again. And they did. And so for the entirety of his 20s, he was just got seven, and that's the life that he knew how to perfect dance moves, to rap, to be made up, and to develop relationship with his fans, and he got to know the business. He didn't know any other life. And so when he got to a point where he wasn't forced when he didn't have to be. He wasn't anymore in that world. It gave him an opportunity to ask himself, is this really what I want to do? Or is this just the only thing that I know to do? And I thought I was mature again because we ourselves actually also get into that situation. We find ourselves into that situation often. We get our first job and we just continue on that path. Or maybe there is a goal that we set for ourselves when we were kids and we go for that goal, and then before we know it, we just decades have passed and we don't even know if this is still what we want to do, or it's just something that we know how to do. And it's lucky for him that he got to a point where he can actually step back, not do anything, and figure out if it's really what he wanted to do. And it's a good thing that because he took one year break, which he was advised against by many people, but he thought that he really needed it. And in that 1 year, he found himself just writing. And the result of that is Magic Man 2. And the answer to his question is yes, it's still music that he wanted to do. He just wanted to do it another way. And so I hope that we all give ourselves sort of that chance to pause, after some time doing what we're doing, also pause and ask yourself, is this really what you want to do? Okay, next.
When you think back,
Certain genre or a specific dance, or like there's a feel that we're good at, and then we debut into some other shit.
yeah, totally.
Like we're doing, like, for example, we're dancing. For example, we're training, um, popping or locking, and when we debut, we're doing something else, and but we had no choice because at that time we were just thinking we wanted to debut.
So again, so I told you in the beginning, one of the things that puzzled me is the fact that they are so talented, and I thought that if there was ever going to be a group that could give BTS a run for their money, it was going to be GOT7. And he kind of answered it here because he felt that they didn't really lock in their brand. In the beginning, they were just doing everything they could, and it felt like they were just throwing things on the wall, and I guess whatever sticks is what they would end up doing. But he felt that had they stuck to a certain brand, it would have been better for them. And it made me think that made me realize that many of the groups that actually ended up becoming very, very successful have been very consistent with their brand. Like Blackpink, there's a certain brand of music, one brand of music that they would always come up with, and one image. It's always about them dissing somebody, rapping, and then Rose would come in singing, and then they would do a dance break, and then it will end. That's the format of their song. And it's almost about how powerful they are, how others can't measure up to them. And you can say whatever it is, what you can feel whatever it is that you want to feel about their music, but it is very consistent. And so they were able to capture a demographic. It's not like they're changing their target all the time. It was one target and they were very successful at that. And that happened to other groups as well. So it made me think as a marketer just how important branding is. And I think he's right. Had they stuck to a certain brand or a certain genre or a certain look, and then once they establish themselves, start innovating, I think it would have been better instead of trying everything and then seeing what was going to stick. But he said that later on they actually kind of realized what was working, and that was the music that was being written by their leader JB. But I think to them they kind of realized that it was a little too late because I think they already knew they weren't going to resign. But it was an eye opener for me because that's it was he's so smart for him to actually kind of realize what was going wrong. Okay, next.
When you think back,
As the champagne was going good, I was like destroyed. So this is how the jungle is. And then at the end, I just, okay, accept it and move on.
who betrayed you?
People around me.
There's, I read that somebody was taking up to 30 to 40% of what you were making. Is that true?
Oh, that was
So he was talking about this. He didn't mention who it was, but there were several people who actually ended up cheating him of his money. And he was said like it was always about money. Whenever he gets betrayed, it was always about money. But this one specific person asked him for help because he was having trouble with a family or whatever. And so he was like, I'm going to help you. Just take a portion of my income until everything is resolved. And then eventually he learned that it wasn't being used for the purpose he was told it was going to be used for. He also talked about a manager, a business partner who ended up betraying him. And he said that it wasn't really about the money. It wasn't the money that he was angry about or heartbroken about, but it was about the act of this person that he trusted actually betraying him. But what is even more eye op- an eye-opening thing for me is that he said that he allowed himself to be betrayed and he takes responsibility for it. So he does not necessarily think it is a bad experience. I mean, it is, but for him, it is more important to take the lesson, to learn the lesson that has to be learned from that experience. And he has realized that he should have seen the signs because at the end of the day, people are going to do what they feel they need to do. And you, on the other end, have to do what you need to do to protect yourself. Okay, next.
Sometimes you just don't even
But
know.
I feel like it's a part of you. But like, what part of you?
Here, like for example, it represents my internal emotions. All these. Here, you're like, not for me.
And by the way, not
So they were talking about Magic Man. So he said that a lot of his fans don't even know who Magic Man is, and they've sort of created their own theories on who Magic Man is, and he said that it's just him. And what he was talking about, because in the song he mentioned something about you were the light or something like that, and so he was asked like who's the light, and he said it's the experience, learning. It's the learning from the experience that's the light. So he made that clear that Magic Man is not a physical man; it's actually a part of him, and the savior or the light is actually him learning from all the experience that he's been through. This album is very emotional and very personal, and he did say that he kind of felt it's very self-indulgent, but it also something that he had to do. Okay, let's go and listen to the
when you
next one.
think back, like yes, time passes, but when you think back to your late 20s, what comes to mind?
No, man. Here,
He starts with a sick solo guitar. Um, the lyrics are great. Human. I just need something human. What the fuck am I doing? A puppet on strings. You're talking about yourself.
yeah, but it's not like a. It's a different. When I say that, it means I'm a puppet on strings, not just of the industry. It's just everything, and a part of that everything is also one of it is also like my decisions. So I'm
Okay, another great point. He did say that a lot of the fans think that they are always being controlled by the industry, by their label, by whoever. But he's saying is that may be true, that part of the control is coming from contracts, from the media, from other powers that be, but also a part of it is coming from himself because he's allowing himself to be in that situation. That's one. Second is that he's setting expectations for himself, so it's him, the most powerful one. He is the most powerful one. He's the one that's actually pulling the strings. Because the reality is that he could pull back and walk away anytime, but he's not doing it. And that is because he wants to be in that situation. So when he's talking about strings, it's not just other people controlling him. But that system actually includes him. And that goes back into taking responsibility for your actions. That's exactly what he was doing. That, a lot of people like blaming other people for the situation that they are in. But at the end of the day, you still have the power over you. You can always walk away. Sure, it's not always going to be an ideal situation. But especially for somebody like him, he got to a certain point, he became popular enough, he could have walked away anytime. He didn't. And that means that he is actually the one that is putting a string on himself because he continues to allow himself to be in that situation. Okay, next. He did say
When you
something
think
good
back,
about his parents
like
here.
yes, time passes, but when you think betrayed you, okay, is that true?
Oh, that was me personally. I feel like when we're born, maybe throughout our entire life, we always think like our parents will figure it out. We never tend to remember that when our parents had us, they had no idea how to be mom and dad, and they had their youth too. They partied, and you think they never, no.
So he was talking about wanting to, he still lives with his parents, and he said that he wants to spend as much time as he can with his parents. And I kind of sympathize with, I understand, because I also want to do the same. My father already passed away, so I kind of want to spend as much time as as I can with my mom. And that's part of the reason, what that's, yeah, part of it, the reasons why it is part of the reason I wanted to sort of slow down. But it's interesting how he started seeing his parents as human beings, because most of us just see our parents as parents. But if you really look at it, they have their own interests, they have their own dreams, there are things that they don't like. And if you just allow yourself to see them, you'll see a more vibrant person in front of you, not just the parent that raised you. But also, it is important to note that that kind of appreciation will only be there if you appreciate your life, because they are the ones that gave you that kind of life. So you will only get to that level of realization and appreciation, and that desire to honor them if you like the life that you have, and the like, if you like the person that you turned out to be. So that's important for you to appreciate your parents. You do need to like the life that you have lived. Okay, next. Another interesting thing is the new project
When
that
you
he
think
actually
back,
has with
like yes, time passes, but when
Nike.
you think back to
I became the
time,
not country at the same time.
wait,
Nike Inc.
that's amazing.
Yeah, and I'm doing something, as a part of the team, helping them curate a specific line. A specific is
So he said that he actually is the, he has a new role in Nike. He's a creative director, and one of the things that he's doing is not just creating a line, but actually creating an entire experience. And he did say something very interesting. He said that he thinks that consumption is different now. When you're buying a shirt, it's not just about the shirt, but it's actually the feeling that you're buying into. When you buy an album, it's the experience that you're buying into. And so one of the things that he's actually doing is creating that experience and that feeling, so that when they sell shoes, for example, it's not just the shoes that you are buying, you're buying into the entire immersive experience. He couldn't, of course, describe what he is doing in detail yet, but you kind of can imagine what it is. But it's interesting that he understands that that is the future of consumption. People are going to start buying into the, not just the product but the feeling. And you can argue that it has always been that way, it's just that it's more pronounced now because of the technology that we have at our disposal. People don't just limit themselves to what the TV can give them. They can research, they can look into other things, they can check what Nike is doing, what Nike is involved in. It will be easy for them to get information as to where they can go so that they can find the community and all of those things. So he's very aware of that. He's a great businessman. Okay, let's next would be about the
When you
fan
think back,
right.
relationship.
A specific is you think all the fan some might do. You think all the fandoms love the label?
no, no, no,
I mean, of course, some might do, but the majority of the love and support is
it's for
towards
the
the artist,
yeah the
and
person.
the artist loves the fandom. Then would that make sense if those two parties come closer together?
So this, he was talking about how he wants to bridge the fans and the artists closer, because he said that at the end of the day, that's what matters. The fans want the artist, and artists wants the artist actually wants the fans. So there is no reason for those two things to come together. And he did discuss the complications that could arise, because a huge part of what fans want is the illusion, the perfection, and once you become closer together, that's gonna go away. So it's, you want it to continue to be aspirational, but I do think that there, he is right in that there, of course it makes more sense for the fans to actually come closer to the artists, and there are very very few artists who have actually done that. There is BTS, of course. Then in the West, there is some attempt from Taylor Swift, and is probably the closest. Still not as close as BTS has become to their fans, but she has made headways, definitely more than what other Western artists have made. He did say that he's starting to try at, I think before this show, several days before this show, he actually went on live and he had no makeup on. And at some point, he was thinking, like, are they going to like me this way? But he also wanted to take a risk and see what's going to happen if they do forge a closer relationship with their fans. And I've been an advocate of this, that artists should actually stay and establish a relationship with their fans to build a community instead of continuing with that divide, that distance. But for the West, a lot of it is very cultural. There is a lot of value given to exclusivity in the West. And so they kind of don't like that. They want to keep their fans as an audience, as consumers rather than participants in their art. Okay. Now let's go to the last point.
When you think back,
Say, oh, I hate this company, I hate this label because this is doing this, and there's so much shit happening behind the scenes. You have no idea. Things are not like what you know. It's not this label's problem or that label's problem. It's whoever that's in this label. That doesn't represent the label. You get what I mean? It's like,
Okay, so this is, he was speaking directly about a lot of fans hating on labels, blaming labels for mistreating an artist, blaming the label for not doing enough, and this and that. And at the end of it, he said that you have no idea what's happening. And he did not deny that there are people within a label that is screwing up. But many of this are just employees. And but it doesn't mean that they represent the entire label. Just because one or two or even 10 people are screwing up doesn't mean that that they are being sabotaged. At the end of the day, companies do actually make mistakes in hiring, and that's what happens to labels. So yeah, I hope that a lot, certainly there are labels in K-pop that mistreat their own artists, and we've seen that many many times. A lot of them have gotten sued, but also there are many labels that sometimes they just make mistake. It doesn't mean that they're actually sabotaging the artist, and this is the artist himself talking about it. He did say that he has great respect for JYP. They remain close, they still continue to talk with them, with him. And he, JYP, as you know, actually gave them the rights to their name. He didn't put up a fight. So I this entire interview is enlightening for me. I have always known that Jackson has is one of the smartest in the idol industry, considering he didn't even finish high school. He had to work right away. So, but I think just being able to experience everything now, being a solo artist, being in a group, and then having this kind of arrangement gave him such a wide perspective, not just on creativity, but also on business. And I hope that you give this interview a chance and also listen to his album, because it's such a great album. It is, a lot of it is pain, but he just want to emphasize that he's done with it now. He's gotten over that pain. It's just that he wants to record it. This is, as he said, as he describes it, it's a very self-indulgent album. But yeah, this I love this interview. It's so insightful, and I hope that you watch it. Okay, if you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe, and hit that notification button, and share the video if you can, because that's really helping my channel. Please share the video. Also, there is a QR code. If you can, please donate to the channel. As you know, I'm expanding it. I'm actually putting together, I'm creating the news magazine, the magazine online magazine part, and then after that, we're going to continue expanding. So I hope you help out. This is for Asian artists, for Asian art, and for Asian culture. Also, if you can, please follow me on X and also on IG. Don't worry, I'm going to start being active on IG, but also on Patreon, because that's where the community is. A lot of great conversations happening there. If you have sensitive questions, sensitive opinions, for as long as you are respectful, that's the place for you to go. Thank you so much, and see you next time.